What's good, everybody? How you doing? How's everybody feeling? What's up, y'all? I wanted to come on here today for a few reasons. One, because you feel me? Look at it. What? Oh, it's crazy. But also, like, I had so many feelings, right? I'm wearing my Dennis Amadeus support local art shirt. I've been on this tip where I want to support as many people who are trying to grind out and do it for themselves as possible. So if you're selling shirts, books, whatever, send links. I would love to support and see what you got going on. But I'm here right now because I have so many things to talk about. I want to talk about 2020. I want to talk about poetry. I want to talk about slam. I want to talk about spoken literature art movement, which is also slam. I want to talk about DPL. I want to talk about Southern Fried. And I'm going to try to just like run through my feelings on a lot of these things. But first and foremost, we made it, y'all. It's the end of the year. You're here. Congrats. It might have been tough, might have been crazy. I'm sure it was a lot of that for a lot of us, but we're here and we made it, y'all. I think poetry has been one of those things that's helped me get through it. And I've seen a lot of people talking about they're not in love with poetry anymore. They don't like it anymore. Or just bragging about, oh, I won this slam, or I win all these slams, and slam becomes the ultimate say so on whether you're successful in this field or not. And I think we're ass backwards in a lot of ways, right? Slam first and foremost, right? Winning a slam does not make you the best poet in the slam. It doesn't make you the best poet, period, right? We talk about this all the time, right? Most of y'all might agree with me. There's a lot of y'all that don't agree, but a lot of y'all keep judging yourself or judging your craft based off of if you win or lose slams. And that's not a good way to approach it, in my opinion. And I think it comes to that idea of like, oh, what is poetry giving me, right? And this is why we fall out of love with it. What is poetry giving me? Oh, poetry's not giving me anything. I'm not getting anything from poetry. Well, that's because, again, in my opinion, I don't think you're supposed to get anything from poetry. I think you're supposed to be able to give with poetry. Your story of understanding yourself and who you are and where you want to be and the traumas that you're dealing with and how you want to deal with those traumas, that is what you give the world, right? Poetry gets you that opportunity to look through it, figure it out, and decide what you want to do with it with your own language, reshaping your own story, right? And then in the act of doing that, you inspire others to do that. And to me, that's what this craft is about. It's about what you're giving to others. And the moment you stop giving to others and start expecting to get, that's when you're going to fall out of love with this shit. Slam is easy, y'all. I love poetry slam. I think it's dope as fuck, right? I've won Southern Fried 3 times. I've been on final stage like 8 times. I've made finals at NPS plenty of times. I never really gave a fuck about iWhips. I should. It's great. And I think the people that compete there are fucking awesome. But I think at some point, and I'm going to speak frank with y'all, like around my 3rd Southern Fried victory, I was like, okay, this shit's a game. Honestly, my first Southern Fried victory, I was 18. It was 2006. I knew right then and there it was a fucking game. I knew that everybody there loved me. I was a kid. I was 18. I was the youngest person by like fucking 10 years. And people wanted me to win. So when I went up on stage, I could have went boop, 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 and they'd have been like 10, 10, 10. Somebody said winning a slam is more about how popular you are. Maybe. I think it's a combination of stuff. But I think right then and there, I knew this shit is a game, yo. And the best poet doesn't win. The best poet at that Southern Fried that year was Renaissance. And I don't even know his last name. I don't know his real name, but he went by Renaissance. He's fucking fire. Some of y'all might know. He's brilliant. And he got 3rd. I thought he killed it that year. But I knew right then and there, I had the strategy that they were looking for. I was like, okay, this is how you win. And I did it a few more other times. But right around the 3rd time, I was like, I don't want to keep playing this game. I get nothing beneficial in my personal healing, and I'm not healing anybody else by writing strictly in a way that's going to win a slam, right? And we know how that sounds, whether it's the cadence, whether it's the writing, whether it be the punchlines. This is shit that, like, when people sit down to write, they're like, oh, my poem has to sound like this or be presented in this way. And I think that's where we're doing it wrong. You got to write from your heart. You got to write from your personal experiences and also just in a way that feels right. If the poem is 30 seconds long, then that's the poem. If the poem is 10 minutes long, then that's the poem, right? It doesn't have to be timed and fit into this box. I think that our field, and when I talk about our field, I'm thinking of like performance poetry or spoken word, right? That field, it gets laughed at a lot because we take ourselves too seriously and we keep presenting stuff in a way that sounds like 100 of the same shits. So yeah, anybody on an outside perspective is going to be like, all this shit sounds the same and it's stupid. And it is for the most part. I'll be straight up. It's stupid, right? If you got 10 poems and they all sound the same, I'm not into your work. I mean, I might be into like 10 of your poems. I might be saying, oh, that's dope, but I'm not going to buy your album or read your book, right? I might not even study your craft, but that's the place I'm in with poetry, right? Is that I think I can clearly see whether something is being done masturbatory or whether something is being done with like the true heart, right? Um, and that's where we got to come from, right? The more and more you think about what you can give people with your craft, the more and more you will find this craft being really, really healthy for you. This is fundamentally a healing art form, right? Nobody would look at like Deepak Chakra or the Dalai Lama as an entertainment figure, right? No, I wouldn't even necessarily look at Maya Angelou as an entertainment figure. These are icons. These are philosophers. These are thinkers. These are great people who shape the human existence. That is what poetry is. It's not about winning a fucking slam. It's not about fucking having 100,000 followers or a blue check on Instagram. It's not about that shit. It's not about, oh, I got millions of views on my YouTube. That's dope, but it's not about that. With those platforms, you get an opportunity to reach and heal more people. And there are people out there that are doing a great job with that. There are people out there that get mixed up and caught up in the sauce. But the moment you start thinking, oh man, I'm going to win a slam with this, or I just won X amount of slams this year, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And even if it feels good at this moment, it will not feel good forever. It won't. It won't. I promise it won't. I promise it won't. You burn out. You stop doing this shit in 5-10 years. I've been writing and performing and in this craft since I was 13 years old. I've been actively in the slam community since I was 15. I'm 33. I'm going to be 34 in June, right? More than half my life I've spent in this craft. And I've seen all kinds of various things, right? I've seen the poet who was blowing up, right? Everybody knew his name. Everybody loved him. He was on HBO. He was on all these things. He was getting videos played on like VH1 Uncut, right? And dropped a book. The book was everywhere. And then now, where are they 10 years later? Most of you who started writing poetry and performing poetry in the last like 5 years, you wouldn't even know this person by name if I said them. I'm not gonna. But that's the thing I think about. This is a long distance race. Maya Angelou was touring like months before she passed. You know, on her before before she was on her deathbed. Like that's powerful. You look at the greats in the game, Nikki Giovanni, right? Like these are people that have been in it for a long, long time. And so I get frustrated when we're all babies in the game. And I really think our community, like our spoken word community, we're all like babies. We're still growing and adapting. Like I had this conversation with like Buddy Wakefield. I was like, we're all babies. And Buddy's like, motherfucker, I've been doing this for like 20 some years. That's true. Buddy, you're a G. I love you. But I think about, right, that even that we're still babies. We're still growing and trying to figure out who we are as people in this craft. So yeah, I've really been wanting to say that for a while. Don't judge yourself by how many followers you get, by how much money you're getting from your poetry. That is super important. And if you are selling product, let me know, because I support local art, and local meaning like my community. It doesn't have to be in LA or Jacksonville. If you're part of my community, hit me up, man. I want to support. So let's think about that going into 2021. Let's marinate. You feel me? Let's see how we can approach this craft if we approach it by what we can give this craft, by what we can give people with our work. I'm excited about this next year. I'm dropping a book. It's gonna be fire. My book is called Good Grief. I had this title in the works. It's been being made literally since my mother passed, which was in 2017. My first book was 3032. And it was more of a love letter to my city, to my students, to being a brown boy in the hood, and to my mother. Um, but the processing of her passing wasn't something that I got to do in that book. This next book is about finding that grief and finding the good in it and getting the shit out, right? You know what I'm saying? Letting that mourning come out, you know? And so I'm really excited about this book. I think it's definitely the best work I've ever done. I've been creating my favorite poems this year. And again, like not something I feel like I need to memorize, right? Again, if I approach them like this is so far, I need to memorize it. Why? Right? Maybe I want to give a good performance. That's good, right? Or maybe I'm just like, I don't know. It's intention. You got to have your intention impact, right? If you're memorizing it for what? Because you feel like you'll be able to reach people better if you give a better performance. That's a good point, right? But if you're like, I want to memorize this shit so I can win a fucking slam, I don't know. I think you're taking the magic out of what you might have just made in your poem, right? If you're healing from this poem and then your healing turns into how you can win, you're doing it wrong, right? And again, just my opinion. You feel me? Just been doing it for half my life. You can listen to it or not. It's all good. And I think that there are rights and wrongs and everything I'm talking about here. So I appreciate you listening. If you're here for this long and you're still listening to me, you're dope as fuck. I fucks with you. But let's get back to this, y'all. Let's get back to the healing that we can give because we're a craft that's meant to heal, not entertain necessarily. You can do both, but healing's got to come first. Thank y'all for everyone who's listened to my album. Dropped the album this last year in 2020, Ivana 2. It's been being streamed all over the world, which has been absolutely brilliant. And thank you for everybody who's wanted to pick up the 3032. That has been we've given away over 3,032 copies of this book. We still have maybe like a couple hundred left over. So if you're a school or organization that wants free poetry books, we got you for a little bit longer. And that's a really, really exciting thing as well. I miss my buddy Sam Hernandez. We've done a lot of music together touring. Sam is in Sweden right now, studying music, which is kind of dope. But I think there's so many cool things coming. I was able to be voted the vice president of Southern Fried, co-vice president with Zachary Cluckman, homie, gang gang. And that's fucking amazing. Being that I went to this tournament for the first time in 2004, and to be in some sort of leadership position now is really, really. I'm super honored and taking it very seriously. And this Sunday we will be having our Slam Masters meeting, our first quarterly Slam Masters meeting. So I hope to see you all there. Lots of exciting things coming down. Lots of cool opportunities to potentially do minor and major publishing opportunities with Southern Fried. We'll talk about that later. We're going to talk about the 2021 tournament, Louisville, what that's going to look like, how that's going to look like, and we want your feedback on this too. So I'm wearing my So Fried hat right now. I should put my So Fried shirt on, but I'm not gonna. But yeah, so there's lots of things coming. So make sure that you stay in touch with what we have popping off this 2021 season. Really excited to see more poets, really excited to see more people. If you're someone who feels like you got a cool relationship with me, or not even all, if you're just like, I have questions and things, hit me up. It's always cool. Spoken Literature Arts Movement, which is Alicia Wise Hernandez and myself's organization. We've been doing a ton of stuff. I mean, we must have done, I don't know, 50 free workshops this year. 50, at least 50 free workshops. Going bi-weekly, pretty much throughout the entire quarantine, and it's all been donation based, so you can come for free, you can donate what you want, and we'll be picking that back up 2021, pretty much early on in the year, so be on the lookout for that. You can find us at spoken_lit on Instagram. I dropped a website. We have a website for that, MatthewCuban.com, spokenlit.com. So many cool things. But if you're interested in workshops, you're interested in improving your craft, and interested in how your craft can give and heal others while healing yourself, come kick it with us. You feel me? It's so much more than winning a slam. God damn it, it's so much more than winning a slam. I really, really, I keep saying that, and I really want that point to get across. I wish we could all start having that conversation as much as possible. So that's pretty much what I got going on. I got 17 wins in Call of Duty. I'm trying to get 20 before the end of the year. I don't think it's possible, but I appreciate y'all sitting here and listening to me. More things to come. I'm going to be dropping an album again in 2021 along with my book, which will be super exciting. Yeah, so many cool things. So thank y'all so much. Be good to yourself, right? You deserve all the patience and love and understanding that you give to others or that want to give to others. You deserve that, I promise. I love y'all, and I hope to see you next time.